That really wasn't my goal. I was in a time and a place. It was 2016. I had just lost my mom, and I was moving to a new city, originally from Portland, Oregon. I moved to Houston, Texas for school, and I really wanted to create a organization, really a student group. I'm not even going to say as big as an organization, because it really was a focus on creating a student group on campus just for women to be able to get together. And that was my main focus, just for us to come together, talk about being women in leadership, barrier. There was no big goal there other than to get us together and to have that community and connection. That was like number one for me. What it is today is quite incredible.
Is it, girl? Quite incredible. Yeah, that's putting it mildly, sis.
Yes. Thank you. It shocks me still. I'm like, I don't know how we got here.
Yeah, you blinked and now you're like, oh, yeah. I'm her. Yes. Yes, I. All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Talk, Real Impact podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Marissa Robinson, and I'm joined here by
Angela Frazier.
Woo! My sister friend, my sister in the fight of public health and all things women empowerment. And I am so very excited to have her on the show. Let's give her a round of applause. Yes. So really quick, let me go ahead and introduce you because, girl, the bio is stacked. All right. So Angela Frazier is the founder and CEO of Sisters in Public Health, a national nonprofit she launched in 2017 to connect and uplift women in the field. Now spanning 33 cities, period, and supporting students through scholarships. She holds a Master of Public Health from UT Health School of Public Health and has built a career at the intersection of community health, leadership, and advocacy. Angela also serves as a board member for Bradley Engel, where she founded emergency shelters for survivors of domestic violence, and as an adjunct professor at Prairie View A&M University, period, teaching mental health promotion. She's a nationally recognized leader. She was named a 40 under 40 honoree by Black Health Connect. Ladies, gentlemen, siblings, and family, welcome my sister girl, Angela Frazier. Sis, how are you? How's it going? How we feeling today?
Good. I've been excited to come hang with you.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. So let's go ahead and start off with your story because it is truly inspirational. And can you tell us and tell our audience and our viewers and maybe our listeners, how did you end up doing the work that you do today?
Yes, well, I would take it back. For me, I originally was on the med school route. I was interested in being an anesthesiologist.
All right, where we all, girl? Like, okay.
Yes, I started off at Xavier University in Louisiana. Really enjoyed my first year there, but truly realized that wasn't the path that I should be on. I ended up going to Portland State University in Portland, Oregon, where I'm originally from. And I ended up taking a global health course with Dr. Dawn Richardson. She's a Tulane grad, and I fell in love with public health. I fell in love with global health, aka I fell in love with public health. I ended up signing up to go to the Dominican Republic, really in the community, not on the beach, like in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I get what you're putting down.
Exactly. And volunteering, just giving back. And I just felt like global health was the path for me. That was my focus, doing AmeriCorps, all that. Like, that was like, I was looking into Peace Corps. That was like,
shout out Peace Corps, shout out AmeriCorps. Come on. We do it for the people. We don't do it for the money because there is none. Anyway, moving along.
That was my focus. But and then that was 2013, 2014. Then when I finished my bachelor's degree, and then when I was writing my personal statement, all of that was like on that path, getting ready to go to UT Health School of Public Health in Houston. Unfortunately, in April 2016, just a couple months before moving to Houston, I lost my mom to suicide, which changed my whole world of like what I was going to do in the public health realm. I switched completely to mental health, suicide prevention. Unfortunately, she was in an abusive relationship that last year, so domestic violence awareness. And my whole pathway just shifted. I didn't
Wow.
touch global health work once I got into my master's program. But if you read my personal statement, that's what it's on, is global health. So
Mm-hmm. And look at her, y'all. Can we just say that sometimes the testimonies and the things that God puts us through, we have no idea why. And we may never know why, but the inspiration that you are to so many other people, to survivors, to advocates, to persons who are close to domestic violence, to those who have lost family members to suicide, your story and your testimony is so powerful, Angela. And I just want to give you a virtual hug and let you know that you truly are an inspiration for so many. And if nobody gives you your flowers, okay, I'm going to give them to you today, period. Yes, you are so welcome. And thank you for sharing that. And for our listeners and our viewers, it's important to know why we come to this work, because sometimes they only see the highlight reels, right? They only see the success. They only see the followers. They only see the impact that we're doing, and they don't know about the why, the tragedies, or maybe some of the really uncomfortable truths that we've had to deal with that we don't necessarily share with everybody. So thank you for sharing that.
absolutely.
So going into more of the public health realm for a second, and thinking about how often in public health we think about data and policy, but your work really sits at the intersection of wellness, mental health, grief, and self-care. Can you tell our audience, why do you think those of us doing public health work are so often expected to neglect our own well-being?
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's public health, but I think it's so many fields. I think that oftentimes we are expected to meet like incredibly high demands and
Mm,
really push forward. And we have KPIs and goals and all these
right?
things to keep us like, on track and to meet the expectation, that I just think unfortunately our mental health is oftentimes sacrificed.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to the person that created this 40-hour work week, because it's not what it's
We
not.
actually should throw it away. Like, let's enough.
Between
We
the 40-hour like work week and the fact that we only get, Saturday and Sunday off,
48 hours
like,
to regroup?
I'm like,
What?
it's not
Math ain't math to me, sis.
it's not it. It's not. Seriously. But yeah, we're oftentimes, especially in our field, really pushing for the betterment and the health of communities.
Yeah.
And so many people that oftentimes we find ourselves really struggling. And I have, fortunately, a lot of people in my support system who challenge me when they're like, it's looking like burnout over there. Like you're like, you're giving burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
when are you gonna, practice your own self-care? So
Yeah. And as public health advocates, practitioners, if you will, when we wear so many hats, I think as much as it's a blessing and it's a it's something that we really truly value, it can also be one of our biggest challenges,
yeah.
right? When you have so many hats, when you have so many areas of expertise that you can kind of pull from, and that many people in public health don't just have one job.
Yeah.
We may have one title officially, but we have a lot of different brands. We have a lot of different things that we maybe are doing at once. And sometimes it looks like we have it all together. We have it all figured out. Like, yeah, I got it. And it's like, no, but maybe my mental health it needs some work. Or maybe I need to really get back in the gym. Or maybe I need to clean up my diet, or just other things.
Mhm.
And I said this the other day, but departments of health and places of healthcare are some of the unhealthiest work environments. When you think about how many people that work in the hospital or healthcare area and smoke cigarettes,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
looking at the obesity rate or the lack of sleep, they literally say that if you don't get enough sleep, how it really messes with your cognition, your motor skills. It's almost like driving impaired,
Yeah.
if you will, from a
Yeah.
substance or alcohol. So like it's bad. So when
Mhm.
you combat that and compact that with mental health and dealing with maybe domestic violence or abuse or an unhealthy or toxic work environment, the
Mhm.
outcomes are really, really bad. So thank you for, bringing that to the light for our audience. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit more about your writing and your teaching and how all of those things have kind of shaped how you approach mental health conversations?
Yeah. Um, so I guess two things with that I'll speak about is one is me and my adjunct role, and then also the fact that I authored a book, a kid's book about suicide. So that was one of my big goals always was to be an author. That was
Mm-hmm.
like from the beginning. Yes, I mean it literally was on my goal list year after year for like 5 years, and I was just rolled it off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. You were finally like, all right now.
Exactly. It was funny. The book and adjuncting was just like always a thing, and I was like, okay, you got to really carve out some time. But I feel like a kid's book about suicide came about, for example, for like there's a company called at the time a kid's book about. It's now a kids company about because they have a podcast and all kind of other things.
Okay.
But they really took off really during COVID when people have their kids at home and we're just having to teach them. And so there's a kids
Mm-hmm.
book about suicide, a kids book about gratitude, a kid's book about body image. I mean, the list goes on. A kid's book about divorce, COVID, all of the above. And so, really, from that perspective, when I started really writing in that realm, I really wanted to focus on two things. One, the kid that was like me who lost someone to suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and the questions, oftentimes unanswered questions that come with that, or the feelings that arise where there's times where I quite miss my mom and there's really loving
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. And then there's times where I'm like, it's a really, there's frustration and there's sadness, right? And there's frustration towards her for ultimately taking her life. Although I've done a lot of work around understanding that oftentimes people who take their own life, it's not that they want to die, it's that they want to stop the pain that they're feeling.
Pain.
That's
Yeah.
really what they're experiencing. And
Yeah.
then I also wrote it from the lens to the kid who's experiencing suicidal ideation to inform them that that is not the answer and that you'll always go through problems and just coping mechanisms and problem solving and
Yeah.
relying on their teachers and counselors and therapists and friends, aunts, uncles, those people that are safe in their environment that they can connect to. So that was really what I kind of dived into in that space. And then now in my current roles, one at Prairie View A&M and the other one at University of Bridgeport, and Goodwin University in Connecticut. In both of these roles, I really focus on, in the adjunct role. So one is more focused on mental health promotion, and then the teaching style there is really honestly open dialogue and conversation.
Love that.
I'm not a like a big professor who does the big papers. I like to give them like
Bless you.
yeah. I like to give them the skills that I feel like are going to be utilized, like the public speaking part, presenting in front of the class. We start
Mm-hmm.
our each class off with the rose and the thorn, so a high and a low of the week.
Love
And
that.
just, yeah, there's just different aspects that I feel like we talk through when it comes to mental health in children, how they've experienced mental health
Quite.
with families. And so really it really has ranged in the way that I've seen it expand there. And it's been lovely.
I love that. And for those who are maybe looking for a space to maybe take a deeper dive into that, or maybe scratch the surface of, hey, I'm feeling a certain way. Uh, I'm looking for some resources, or maybe I'm a friend who has somebody who's feeling some ideation, or I have a family member. Are there resources available that outside of, the children's book and some of the organizations that have like the podcast, are there other resources out there that maybe you could tell our audience about?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one, if they're feeling suicidal, I mean, we lean into our therapist. I have a therapist of my own that I dive into, and I know that, if you know someone who has, plans, they're talking about means, a time, a place, and then that's a more escalated situation where you would, call 911, and if you have to
Mm-hmm.
kind of intervene, and it's okay to talk to people about it, right? And ask questions, ask them if they're feeling suicidal, making sure that people don't have, certain means. If maybe that's medication, maybe they have, attempted via medication or they've talked about it, then, getting medication removed from their environment. There's also, of course, if someone has access to, a weapon and things like that, making sure that
Mm,
their environment safe, that you can
right.
expose them to. And I have friends who have made sure that they're no longer gun owners because they have experienced suicidal ideation, and so just making sure
Yeah.
that and just being a safe space for people to have those conversations because it feels awkward, it feels very vulnerable to because we're all incredibly strong people on the outside, right? And then we all have our
Right.
weak and hard
Well,
moments that we're
yeah.
vulnerable moments that we're going through, and it's doesn't matter whether it's race, age, ethnicity, salary. There's nothing um that can like stop that, those feelings, right? And so making sure to really dive into getting the help that we need.
Mm-hmm. And is it 988 or 998? The
988.
988.
Yes.
So again, there are some resources that are available online. There's also phone that you can call 24/7, 7 days a week, 365, if that is you. And I wanted to just pause for a second because again, everyone's going through so much, especially in the last couple of months. It's been a little chaotic, I would say, for folks who have lost their jobs, for especially those in public health, those in healthcare, those in medicine, those that are scientists, and a lot of those people that are our colleagues and our friends are dealing with job loss and are going through things that are unimaginable right now. So I just wanted to take time to just highlight that. So thank you for sharing some of those resources. And moving into your wonderful organization, Sisters in Public Health, because you saw women in the field carrying so much responsibility without enough support. What were you experiencing in the time that you realized, hey, we really need a community for this, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but we need to make something happen. Like tell
Yeah.
the people
Yeah.
how this idea and this thought has now 33 chapters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would tell people I had no desires to make a nonprofit, and surely not one
Yeah.
that was national. That really wasn't my goal. I was in a time and a place. It was 2016. I had just lost my mom, and I was moving to a new city. Originally from Portland, Oregon, I moved to Houston, Texas for school, and I really wanted to create a organization. Really a student group. I'm not even going to say as big as an organization
Yeah.
because it really was a focus on creating a student group on campus just for women to be able to get together. And that was my main focus, just for us to come together, um, talk about being a woman in leadership, barriers. Just there was there was no big goal there other than to get us together and to have that community and connection. That was like number one for me. What it is today is quite incredible.
Is it, girl? Quite incredible. Yeah. That's putting it mildly, sis.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It shocks me still. I'm like, I don't know how we got here.
Yeah, you blinked and now you're like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm her. Yes. Yes,
exactly.
I am.
Yes.
And we're so proud of you. I
Thank
have to say,
you.
as a member of the community, to see you grow and Sisters of Public Health grow. There's so many women that are doing amazing work in the field of public health. And you've given not only space and a platform, but also a modality for women who don't know where to go, or who don't know how to get started, or who want to better themselves, who want to get, their Lean Six Sigma belts, or who want to pursue a PMP, or who want to get in positions of leadership. Like, you have given them not only a structure, but also a sisterhood. And I love that so very much. And if you don't know about Sisters in Public Health, I'm going to need you to go to Sisters in Public Health so you can learn a little bit more about the great work that Angela does and her amazing team. And you all continue to really push the envelope in terms of representation, visibility, and community. So I love all of the things that you all continue to do. And shout out to Sisters in Public Health. You're so welcome. And moving into, I think you've talked about the growth of Sisters in Public Health, but I would love to just have a moment for, if you can share with us, what do you think women in public health are searching for right now that traditional professional spaces aren't giving them?
Community. I really think the sisterhood is like the secret sauce. I mean,
Yeah.
I really felt that all along. It doesn't matter where we're at in our levels of our career. I always find that there's so much friendship here. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much. I mean, someone just sent me just a nice little note the other day where she just got married with somebody in our Dallas chapter. And I mean, there was
Oh,
like 4 or 5 of the girls who went to her bachelorette party, and they all met through Sisters in Public Health, the Dallas chapter. And
shut up. Come on.
yes, like, I was like, can I come to the
Right.
camp? Y'all got a Mexican.
I think I can pencil that in. Wait a minute.
And then just to see then at her, I saw the wedding pictures recently, and I'm just seeing just all the photos taken. I'm like, this is so cool to see, like, the Dallas chapter just there and representing, and they're just true friends. I've seen so many friendships develop. I've seen just different, a few of us actually had lost someone, a family member recently, and just to see like how people have been circled around. I mean, I've lost family members over the years, and I've had flowers delivered to my door from the team. I've been gifted spa days. We just gifted someone a spa day who just lost their mother. I mean, it's just been it's just, we come together just in sisterhood. It's like so much more than, although it's great to that those PMPs and the CHES and MCHES and the scholarships, and the list goes on around like the professional development piece. But I think there's something that we all strive to be a part of, and to like have that community.
Right.
We're not new to sisterhood, right? Like, we know.
Hello? By culture and by merit, in case you were wondering. Yeah, the shield right there.
Yes, exactly.
Always.
Yes.
Pinkies up all the time.
All the time, and people strive for that, and I think that that's what we find that's truly missing. And when people come to our retreat, we do a new city every year in August, and this year it's New Orleans, last year is Vegas, and each year we have new people come out to the retreat, and they always come back. It's like, that is the space where they're like, oh, this is fun. This is like, these are your girls. This is it. And naturally, people call someone up and say like, oh, I think you'd be a good fit. I mean, my adjunct role is because of Sisters in Public Health. It's because that someone reached out to me and was like, hey, I think, you'd be a good fit for this adjunct role. And they told the director, and the director called me and was like, hey, I would love to see your application. Like,
yes. See? And those are the people, I love hearing those stories of how you're being spoke about in rooms you're not in. And that, we need to get back to that. We need to get back to talking our friends, family, our colleagues up, because a lot of what we're seeing now, I would say, is word of mouth. It's not about your expertise in your education, how many degrees you have, certifications, whatever. It's all about who you know, what you know, and how you make people feel. It has like, if we can go back to humility and really thinking about the person first, I think we could be a much healthier country. But right now it's a little, we off the chain, so
Yeah.
we need each other, I think, a little more than we have in the past. And that sisterhood and being able to lean on somebody who was a complete stranger before, potentially meeting them in Sisters in Public Health. And now it's almost like I can't imagine the world without that person,
Yeah.
right? Or going through the trenches of a master's, a doctoral program, a certification, a grant process, like all of those things without some of those key stakeholders that are your homegirls or the group chats that we have. And I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as we get ready to wrap up, you also center Sisters in Public Health around mentorship, scholarship, and accessibility. What does equitable leadership actually look like to you?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. We're really big at Sisters in Public Health is making sure people have a seat at the table. And one of the things that I really have enjoyed, and one of my favorite things to do, honestly, is getting people what they need for them to advance in their career. Like that is very
Mm-hmm.
much our mindset is like we are here to advance the next generation of women in public health. So
Yeah.
that does look like all of the things that we've kind of mentioned around and everyone's a little bit different. Like I have someone who's a little bit more focused on data, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's the certification that she's looking into. We have those who are more interested in process improvement, so that's the Lean Six Sigma, things like that, the CHES and MCHES, and so and then also just thinking about ways in which we can support. I mean, there's most recently in the fall, and currently we're working on our next series for it. But we did a 5-week series for signs of public health. So we had someone who was a member of the deaf community lead with the interpreter a public health sign language. So 5 weeks on a Saturday morning, and that was like a really
Wow.
really cool. Really really cool thing to see where it's just that kind of beginner sign language, and then specific to how could you be helping someone, kind of some public health lingo and just things of that sort. And that was really really awesome to see. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was really given that person, because they were just starting in their and giving more kind of seminars and workshops for sign language, and as they're growing their platform, and then also hiring and employing someone who's a part of the deaf community. Like that was a big deal, and a lot of
Love
kind of kudos
that.
that we got around that, or making sure that we are looking at the different avenues, fields of public health, and making sure everyone has that seat at the table.
Yeah. And I just want to hold space and remind our listeners and viewers that diversity, equity, inclusion, accountability, and belonging will and forever needs to be a priority. We should not strive for a monolith. We should strive to have different levels of all walks of life, because that reflects the people that we serve 9 times out of 10. And how can you center the thoughts, the beliefs, the things that make folks whole if the persons of lived experience are the closest to the problem or to whatever intervention you're trying to put in place? If they don't have a seat at the table or a voice, what are we doing? It's always baffling to me. So I love this thought of inclusivity. There's so much that you're doing that is trailblazing, and I hope that folks who are listening and viewing this will take heed and understand that you can still make a difference in making room for someone else, and it doesn't have to be crabs in a barrel. We don't have to be, oh my God, there's only one pot of money, or oh my gosh, you have a firm or you have a nonprofit. We can't all sit at the table together. There is room for everybody, and everybody has a niche, and there's nobody on this earth like you. And so take that and use that, because you are a unique individual. And especially if you're in public health, we're doing this usually not for ourselves. We're doing it because we are selfless, because we are almost sometimes invisible. And it's when something is an emergency. when
Mm-hmm.
there's an outbreak, hantavirus,
Yep.
norovirus. If there is, something wrong, that's when all of a sudden people see us and the work that we do as important. But on those other days, sometimes we're an afterthought, and we got to get away from that. We got to get away from that. And I think you and I, we making some strides, and we making some waves in doing just that. So as we get ready to close here, this is my question that I always kind of end with. But where does public health show up in your work and even behind the scenes?
Ooh, everywhere. God.
Correct. Right.
Yes, gosh, everywhere. I mean, for me, public health really shows up in supporting my mentees. That's
Yeah.
where it shows up for me the most. I'm in
Mhm.
that age bracket now.
Yeah, we the aunties, child.
Like, oh my gosh, I remember when it was me sending the LinkedIn messages and looking
Yeah.
at yours. And so that's
Doesn't it feel like it was yesterday, girl? Like you were just like, "Hi, I am interested." And it had nothing to do with followers, right? It had everything to do with maybe the title, the organization, maybe the trajectory. And
Mm,
now people
yeah,
reaching out to you, and they're like, "Hi, I'm a student," or "I saw your post," and I'm
yeah,
flattered. I'm
yeah,
always flattered. But
yeah,
then I always think back similarly, like
yeah,
I remember when that was me.
yeah. Oh
Hmm.
yes. Oh yes. Yeah, and that's what it looks like now. And that's the exciting thing, hearing the updates and talking to someone about, they're really focused on getting an adjunct role, and then like we do a mock interview, or we're preparing for
Hmm.
that, or I'm looking at, personal statements or resumes, and then I get the update on they get it. They always we get what we put where we put energy. So
Yeah.
it's always nice to see that. That's most rewarding for me, and where my public health focus really seems to be.
Yeah, I love that. And I want you to be able to share with our audience maybe ways that they can get in touch with you or see your work
Mhm.
and what you have up and coming.
Yes, absolutely. So, for me, you can always find me on one AngelaNicoleFrazier.com. My Instagram, Angela Nicole F underscore. Also, of course, on LinkedIn as well. Same there. And the Sisters in Public Health is on Instagram at Sisters in Public Health underscore. And I mean, LinkedIn, I'm LinkedIn, TikTok, all of the our Facebook group. So yes, there's a ton of places to find us.
Yes. And I just want to thank you again for being a part of this conversation of Real Talk, Real Impact. And folks, please, please, please keep showing up, keep asking questions, keep pushing to be better. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye.